Welcome to a special edition of the Blister and Muck podcast. I'm Jenny Mason, your host and the creator of the Blister and Muck series. This week, we chat with a poet. Not surprisingly, our conversation takes a turn for the verse. Today in the U.S., it's Thanksgiving, a time when normally we gather with our families and friends to stuff big birds with spiced bread, before we then stuff ourselves with so much good food and good cheer. I say normally we do this, but 2020 is not the year for normally anything. And I realize all the not normals of this year make a lot of people angry and frustrated. We like to do what we normally do. The not normals can also make people very sad. We miss the people we normally see. But there's also times when not normal is the most marvelous experience we've ever had. Like when you go on a vacation to a place where everything is new and so not normal that you realize how bored you were with normal. And if you'd had one more day of all that boring normal, you would have screamed until your face turned pomegranate red. Even though not normal can be frustrating, I genuinely believe we have the power to transform ourselves when things are not normal. We can learn new skills. We can develop new traditions. We create things which have never existed in the world before. In other words, not normal is miraculous. To honor that more marvelous side of not normal, I am not doing what I normally do on this show every week. Instead of bringing you the latest edition of Blister and Muck's Unsolvable Mystery, today I welcome a very special guest and friend, Mr. V.B. Price. Some of you listeners may be familiar with V.B. Price's dad, the famous Hollywood actor Vincent Price, who starred in all sorts of classic horror movies involving monsters, zombies, and ghosts. V.B. Price, or Barrett, as I have always known him, is an award-winning poet and journalist whose works have appeared in national and international publications since 1962. Barrett has just released a new book of poems called Innocence Regained. It is a collection of the holiday poems he wrote as Christmas gifts to give his friends. From 1969 to 2019, Barrett has always written a Christmas poem. That's 50 poems spanning 50 years. When things are normal, I love gathering with friends at Barrett's house, which is a magic house built out of wishbones and fossils that curl around a giant tree where lizards and roadrunners stash secrets about the universe. To almost recreate what I normally love, I gathered the whole Blister and Muck crew for a fireside video chat with Barrett. With logs crackling in Barrett's black and big-bellied wood stove, we chatted about Innocence Regained, which is the title of his holiday poem collection because it captures how the holiday season is a chance to rekindle and reawaken the pure delight and childlike joy we can so easily forget during a year when all the news seems bad and the work is too hard too often and our friends are too far away for comfort. Thank goodness a book like this exists in times such as these. Barrett, these holiday poems began in 1969. Is that when you began writing poetry?
No, I started writing poetry in 1960 probably. And I published my first poem in 1962. And I think I started writing the Christmas poems, probably maybe 67 or so. And then I met my late wife, Renee, and we were married for 50 years. And I started writing the Christmas poems basically for her and for a small coterie of friends that became much larger when I started to teach and stuff, and they just, I just wanted to reflect on what a gift being alive is.
Oh, Mr. Price, I have a quintessential query. I'd like to know why you write poetry. What do you enjoy about it?
I write poetry because it requires me to be a good carpenter. And I love making things as smoothly and as beautifully as I can. And the difference between writing poems and writing prose is that poems require the joinery to fit absolutely and exactly. So there's a lot of sanding and a lot of polishing and a lot of restraint. And it's a lot of fun. I also write a lot of journalism too, but it's not nearly as much fun as making something as beautiful as it can possibly be.
Hey, Mr. Beebe, is it true you were a reporter?
Yeah, I am a reporter still. I've been doing that for since '66, and I've been writing newspaper columns and online columns since '71. I've been doing this a long, long time, and I like it because it gets me into the world and it makes me open my eyes and try to see what's really there, what actually is. It's not an easy thing to do, and sometimes I get it right, and sometimes I don't. But I like to think I get it right most of the time.
Aren't reporters supposed to cover a beat?
Yeah, they do. I've been lucky to be a police reporter, court reporter, not the kind that keeps records, of course, but that actually reports for the newspaper on what happens in a courtroom. I've been an environmental reporter. I've covered forest fires. I've covered every conceivable thing imaginable. And now I'm so old that I get to do it all because I've done it all and I know how to do a lot of it. I'm not saying I do it all well, but I know how to do it.
Uh-huh. So how does a reporter with a beat turn into a poet who doesn't rhyme?
That's a very good question. I'm a writer, and I get the enormous pleasure of writing at both ends of the spectrum, if you will. Journalism is sort of looked down upon as being sort of in the streets and a little grimy and gritty, and poetry is always sort of elevated. I try to treat them both in exactly the same way. Do the best I can with the language, be as honest as I can be. Look at the world or look at what's happening inside myself. It's it's about being a witness.
Oh, so a poem doesn't have to rhyme.
No, well, they poems usually. This is one of the strange things about that word rhyme. Poems usually have internal rhymes. Vowels rhyme sometimes. All kinds of tricky sounds that make a poem sound so much different from a straight uh, prose sentence. And it's because the words are playing off each other, and they're playing off each other not only with meaning, but in your ears. It's very hard to describe that. But when a poem works, you know because it's singing to you. When a line of journalism works, you know because it's conveying the fact accurately as you can.
There's something I want to know. My favorite part of the holidays is all the juicy foods to eat. What's your favorite part of the holidays?
well, I like the juicy foods too, uh, but I've been blessed. I've been rich in family and rich in friends, and it's the time when I get to see everybody I love, and it's wonderful for me. So it's the people I enjoy the most. And this Christmas is going to be a little strange, as there won't be for the first time in 50 years. There won't be a big Christmas Eve at my house, and because of COVID, of course. And so, but there will be next year. So it's all about people, and it's about helping them and helping myself regain my innocent joy in being alive. Just the pure, simple delight of waking up every morning and looking at the beauties of the day, finding as many wonderful things as you can find to praise.
Oh, Mr. Barrett, I think poems are meant to be heard, like songs or Christmas carols. Could we hear you read one of your holiday poems?
Gorgeous George, I agree with you. I think they are supposed to be heard. They're supposed to be sung and they're supposed to be listened to. Of course, you can read them on the page too, but there's nothing quite like hearing them in your ears, and you have beautiful big ears, I see.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, well, let me read you. These come from the Christmas poems of 2014. They're called 6 Liberties of Compassion. And I'm going to read you the 5th liberty, which is the liberty of friendship. It took one word, and she knew exactly what I meant. Old friends in love are a culture of two, a tribe on a lonely veld where languages spring up like shadows that define unique codes of inside jokes, taboos, you had to be there, ways of being true. We are a form our freedom takes. We know what to say and what not to say, and when and where to say it, and to not say it. It takes a look, one shift of a shoulder, one glancing off at a treetop to say a sonnet worthy of sympathy and an exhalation of relief. Like loyalty, through the slippery wobblings of accident and history's trap, teaches us to understand the echoes of our inner lives, that sound between us, as real as when we have befriended who we are, ourselves, without constraint. Banish accusation and unrequited gloom. Kindness is such an easy lesson to be learned because it is so easy to return.
Oh, excellent. I loved it.
Very good. I so heard the internal rhyme.
So I'm going to read one more from 6 Liberties of Compassion. This one's about euphoria. Epiphanies of glee, of unexplainable joy, our sense that life is our perfect fate, rapturous and overwhelmed on deadly cliffs, staring out into the desert, hopeless as the sky, and knowing we are nothing more or less than everything that is, atom-born. These euphorias come to us like our first escapes on bikes up summer streets when we were 8, such inner soundings of belonging, turn the world from right and wrong into the freedom of trust without an answer. And we feel the cosmos that's within us, the exactly who we are, wants to give itself through us to everything else that is, in which nothing is out of place, not even our judgment of it. The whole mystery left to us is learning how to live true to the perishable only once we are, adding the best that we can be, that never again, to the whole of the all before the end comes our way. Desiring the goal is what truly matters. Kindness is such an easy lesson to be learned because it is so easy to return.
Wow, not bad,
Oh,
not
that
bad.
was marvelous.
Bravo, reading that was.
Oh,
excellent.
wow.
Super
That was
duper.
great.
So good, don't you think?
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's fun to read them. I haven't read those in a long time.
Barrett, on this day of giving thanks, I want to thank you so much for spending your time with us. Thank you for teaching us about poetry and the magic of the holiday season. Thank you for being my friend. I wish you happy holidays and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, my darling.
Stop by blisterandmuck.com to find out where you can get your own copy of V.B. Price's new book of poems, Innocence Regained. Once I started reading, I couldn't put it down. These poems sparkle like crystals in a geode. In a standoff with this book, your 2020 gloom doesn't stand a chance. I am beginning to think my producers want me to stop making these poetry puns so that you listeners can go enjoy your Thanksgiving dinner. They make a valid point. Tune in next week to find out if Blister joins Madame Petresca's operatives. Can they capture the wily Dr. Van Sangfroid? Will they track down the escaped panther, or will it track them first? And just in time for you Black Friday shoppers, stop by the Blister and Muck gift store and use the code POEM2020 to take 20% off your entire order. A portion of your purchase helps keep this show on the air. And I include a secret thank you surprise with every order. To visit the gift store, simply tap Support the Show at blisterandmuck.com. Special thanks to Roland Rudzitis for serving up the Blister and Muck theme song. Additional music from Axletree and Vortex at the Free Music Archive. Additional sounds from Daniel Simeon and the Cylinder Archive. I send holiday love and light to my family, friends, and fans. One for one, and all for you.